Today I'm going to grind some pork and make some sausage, and I'm also going to use some of this pork to can up some Quebec Pork Meatballs. I already made a video about that. And I want to start off by saying I'm not a butcher and I'm not a sausage maker, but I am a tightwad, so I can show you how to save some money. Around here, the cheapest ground pork I can find is $3.29 a pound. And this pork butt is $1.58 a pound, so this is half price. There's actually 2 pork butts in that package. It was a little over 15 pounds, and since I have a lot to work with here, I kept everything refrigerated. I just worked in little batches. I washed the meat, then I cut it up into cubes that would fit into my grinder. You see all this fat here? You need that for ground pork. It would seem easier to use a pork loin, but they're too lean. You need this fat for ground pork. I just kept cutting it up into little cubes, and there is a bone in this meat. In the end, the 2 bones together weighed half a pound. I didn't want to leave this meat sitting out for a long period of time, so I would put it into bags as I went along and put it in the freezer. And the meat grinds better when it's partially frozen anyways. Here's my little meat grinder. It's just some little thing I picked up at the thrift store. It doesn't do the best job, but it will grind meat, and it would be better if you had an electric one, but it will do the job. For 1 batch of sausage, you need 2 pounds of ground pork, and in a separate little bowl, I mix together 2 teaspoons of sage, 2 teaspoons of salt, 1 teaspoon of pepper, a 1/4 teaspoon of marjoram, a tablespoon of brown sugar, 1/8 of a teaspoon of crushed red pepper flakes, and a pinch of cloves. I mixed these spices up thoroughly, then I added them to the meat and mixed it well. This sausage is a mild breakfast sausage, by the way. If you wanted it hotter, I guess you could add more pepper flakes. Of course, a spoon just doesn't work as well as your hand, so go ahead and get your hands in it. After it was thoroughly mixed, I shaped the sausage into thin patties. This sausage doesn't have a whole lot of fat in it, not like store-bought, so it's not going to shrink up like store-bought does. So you want to keep the patties thin. So I'm going to fry some of this up so that you can see how it turns out. Now see there's practically no grease in this sausage. Even with all that fat that was in that pork butt, there's practically no grease. So you can imagine what they're putting into the sausage we're buying in the store. This is real good, and it's hard to describe, but it just tastes like real food. It makes the store-bought sausage taste like a cheap imitation or something. I fried up the whole batch and put them in the freezer, and the next time I make biscuits, I'll make extra, freeze the biscuits, and then I can put the sausage and biscuits together and vacuum seal them in little packages. Then I have my own little convenience food. I made 2 more batches of the sausage that I wanted to freeze as patties, and you know the vacuum sealer is going to squish up stuff like this. So I just put them on the cookie sheet and layered the patties between pieces of wax paper, and then froze it, and then I took the patties and vacuum sealed them. This way they don't get all squished up being vacuum sealed. So here they are after I vacuum sealed them. I got 8 packages with 6 patties each, 48 patties all total from a double batch. I still had a lot of pork left, so I'm going to can it up, and I'm using the Quebec Pork Meatball recipe, except instead of adding the mustard, cloves, and cinnamon, I added 2 tablespoons of oregano to give these an Italian flavor so that I can use them in spaghetti or to make meatball subs. And this is the first time in my life that I wish that a jar wouldn't seal, because these smell and taste so good. I wanted to go ahead and eat a jar of them now. Hang on, there's still more of that meat, so I made these into patties following that meatball recipe, but I didn't put the mustard, cloves, or cinnamon in these. These are just basically plain. And I fried up these patties and canned them up. So what did I get out of this package of meat? It was 15.11 pounds at $1.58 per pound. It cost me $23.87. I ended up with 8 pints of meatballs, 8 pints of patties, 8 packages of the frozen sausage patties, and there was the 2 pounds that I fried up that will become sausage biscuits, and we ate 1 meal out of this already. So even not counting this sausage, I have 24 meals. That's enough for 2 or 3 people, and I got it for $23.87. So if you do that enough times, you'll have a whole lot of money left to buy gadgets. So that's how I ground pork and made sausage. I hope it helps.